Okay, how are we doing, folks? It's Friday afternoon and I've got the stock reviews for you as per the video. So the first one we're looking at is ACI. We've got an upward trending support line here. Just be aware of the longer term downward trending resistance line. Entry point is going to be important here. I know a lot of people shorted the stock down from that resistance line. Looks like a couple of bumps here, so be interesting to see what happens over the next day or two. I believe we've only got half a day on the markets today, as it's a half day following Thanksgiving yesterday. Okay, then we have ADSK. So we've got a downward trending resistance line here. There is some support around about the $30 mark, but make sure you're looking for a good entry point there if you were to trade that. AEC, support around about the 14.29 mark. There are be aware of these things. The stock actually does sell off quite a bit here, even though it rallies back up. So I wouldn't say that's ready for a trade right now, but just be aware you're going to have to use these points here as your stop loss. We have away, and we have a resistance line around the 27.25. It's coming down to the support line here at just below 20. Be aware of this though as well. That's got to be your stop loss area should you be looking to trade this. A bit of an aggressive sell off here. The stock does sell off quite aggressively. It does some interesting things here, but a little bit of a consolidation. So I'm guessing that sell off is out of its system a bit at the moment. Then we have back. There's a pretty decent range on that as well. Obviously the support is around about the $20 mark, and there's some external resistance at the 27 mark. Then we have back BAC, resistance around about 9.77, just below $10. Be aware of this upward trending support line as well. Okay, so just be aware of that. CBT, downward trending resistance line. We also have a downward trending support line there as well. So the lows are getting lower. You've got at least your 10% in there. Again, entry point is going to be absolutely key on that. Be interesting to watch how that market opens up actually after yesterday being closed. But yeah. Then we have CCRN, support line just below 4, maybe marginally small, but you know my thoughts on those as well. Pretty decent ratio there, I'm guessing, between 4 and 5. It's a pretty small stock. So then we have eBay. Not eDay, it's eBay. eBay. Upward trending support line. Really only 2 bounces though that I could see. So 1 bounce there, 1 bounce there. Really need 3 in order to get into the trade. FCFS, which I think is fast cash. Yep. We've got a resistance around about the 47.21 mark. We do also have a upward trending support line, but there's still a decent range in there. And what I do like is the stock turns pretty quickly there. So it's not sort of a raggedy old trade where basically you get a lot of spikes up, because obviously that's going to influence your stop loss. So you could actually, with a stock that turns this tightly, you can limit your risk quite significantly there. Then we have GNTX, and that again is a downward trending resistance line. There seems to be some support around about the $15 mark, so bear that in mind. Also notice how quickly the stock sells off from the resistance line. Bow, bang, bang, it's come down, bang. Seems to be finding some kind of support here, so I probably wouldn't expect to see it sell off significantly, unless if it does, obviously it's going to break through there. But it has done that in the past, so it's still trading at a reasonably decent area, although the stock value has halved over the last year or so. We had Joy. Again, there's been a sell-off here. Now we have an upward trending support line. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Entry point's important on that. The highs are getting higher, which I do like, because obviously it has the appetite to potentially go higher. Again, a reasonably big stock, but even if you're looking at, I mean, strictly speaking, I'd guess the stock is maybe already gone, but a pretty decent ratio on that. It's a big stock there. Joy. Then we had CRM. Again, a resistance line around about the 158 mark. Be aware of these though. You've got to be very aware of this the previous highs, because that's obviously where your stop loss is going to come into the equation. But again, a very, very big stock. CRM. Then we have QCOM. We got the downward trending resistance line. We got it's a little bit dirty. This, I would expect to see it come up a little bit more to get a slightly better looking upward trending resistance line. So probably not ready to trade right now. QCOM clack. Support line around about the $44 mark. I'd really only say though, you've got two bounces here. So you've got a bounce there and a bounce there. We do need those three bounces in order to place a trade. Well, certainly two prior bounces anyway. Just clack them. We had M. Again, a resistance line around about 41. There is a short-term upward trending support line here as well, but be aware of those spikes for your stop losses. Then we have triple M, 3M. Again, upward trending support line, bounce there, bounce there. It bounced pretty deep down here. I'd say, I mean, it's still on the support line, but this has got to be the low of your range here, this part here. So how that will play into your equations, I'm guessing it's probably not going to be that attractive. Then we have Nuan. Support at around about the $20 mark. Pretty decent range. Not too much severe interaction here on the resistance line. Short-term downward trending resistance line from middle of September. But yeah, decent range, and again, it's pretty clear cut on that support line. So really, that when it's clear cut on the support line, makes it a cleaner stock to trade, so to speak. Then we have OMCL, and we have an external resistance line around about the 1535 mark. Again, a choppy stock though, very, very choppy. Sells off aggressively, has big up and down days, gaps from time to time. Certainly not one for the more conservative traders, because you've got to be able to deal with that personality as well. Then we have PFE, which I think is Pfizer. Is that right? Pfizer. Yep. Upward trending support line, bounce, bounce, bounce. What I do like is it's been to a higher high here as well. You're only looking at you're looking at about the $23 mark as on that bounce. I think the stock is already gone though. PPS, we have a support line around about 46, 47. Not too much else you haven't dealt with there, but again, you've got these bounces on the support line here that you got to become aware of. Then we have PX, again upward trending support line. It's not a short-term upward trending support line either. You got to bounce around there, and then it's come all the way up. You've got that resistance line at about 109. Your low is going to have to be here for your stop loss. Ideally I'd rather have the highs getting higher, but the highs are maintaining there, so you're going to get breakout one way or the other, normally speaking. PX, RECN. Support around about the 1125. There's some internal resistance around here as well, maybe also a little bit lower, maybe around about this area here. But a pretty decent support line, although it is relatively short, relatively young, if I can use that term. Then we have SKY, and support at $4. Again, a relatively small stock, but I do like that the highs are getting higher here, so you've got an upward trending resistance line there as well. Then we have AVNW. Downward trending resistance line, again a stock that can move significantly. You don't want to, I mean, there's also a shorter term upward trending support line there that you could probably tie up to the bottom line there. Again, quite an aggressive moving stock, certainly not a passive nature. SNI, upward trending support line, bounce, bounce, bounce. Very, very passive. Very passive there. And again, entry point's important. Perhaps we've missed that entry point, because that would have been absolutely perfect to get in there on that doji. Absolutely textbook. And yeah, SNI. Then we have SRCL. Again, upward trending support line. I think we might just have missed this. Bounce, 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 bounce. There's an area of resistance around about the $94 mark. Whether that's going to give you your ratios or not, I'm not sure. So see, then we have try. Upward trending support, bounce, bounce, bounce. 26 is that upward trending support line there. Yeah, are you going to get your ratios in there? I guess that's going to be your calculations to do. TRI. Then we have T. Again, upward trending support line, bounce, bounce, bounce. I like the highs are higher here. A little bit of a gap down here. It's put in a little bit of a consolidation, but again, maybe we've just missed it by a day or two on that trade. TADBE. Okay, so then we got the upward bouncing support line here. Bounce, 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 bounce. Highs are getting slightly higher, which obviously is a good sign. Again, maybe a day or two late. Maybe just a day or two late. And it's not easy to pick these upward trending support lines on their actual prices, because you never know exactly where they're going to go. So here we have S, which is Sprint Nextel Corporation. We have a late bounce in June, and then it's up there again. It's grown significantly in the last few months. I mean, it gaps up there as well. I think it's still a stock that maybe just doesn't have a really good sense of itself at the moment, but just because of that kind of growth spurt, you know. Then we have an upward trending support line here on Charles Schwab. Bounce, 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 bounce again. I think we've probably missed this one in the short term. And then INTU, an upward trending support line. Bounce there, bounce there, bounce there. Relatively predictable, I guess. But you're going to have to use that. That's the low of your range right there. So, yeah, nothing that you haven't seen before. Nothing overly exciting. Well, I mean, there's some nice trades, some very nice trades there, actually. But nothing that you are not trained to deal with. So I wish you all the very best for the weekend. And I will speak with you on Monday. All the very best, folks. Have a great one. Cheers. Bye-bye.